there, everyone. Dave Barlow back with the gang, and we're going to jump right into our term of the week.
Hey, thanks, DB. And I'm going to get Mike, and I'm going to get Jamie, and I'm going to get you involved in our term of the week this week, Dave.
I'm busy.
One of the things we do as buyer brokers, and Dave, I know it's real important to you and your clients, your sellers, is a pre-approval letter. And so our term this week is going to be pre-approval. And, the definition of a pre-approval, at least in my world, and I've been doing this about 23 years, is I like for my lender to have a conversation with the buyer about work history, about income, about other issues. And if you're breathing, you've got an issue, in order to get a good, and I want to stress, a good, valid pre-approval letter. Me as a buyer's agent, it doesn't do me any good to get you pre-approved if you're not in a position to buy. And one of the things we do as buyer agents is we want you to get a valid pre-approval that we can give to a seller and their agent when it comes time to make an offer on the phone. Mike, what do you look for in a pre-approval letter?
So it's kind of twofold for me, because it depends on the lender, most importantly, on their process for pre-approving a potential buyer. I only use a few. The reason I use the lenders I use is they actually do a real pre-approval, as in there's a credit check involved, there is a verification of income, and that this person can actually buy it and it's worth what was written on the paper. There are some other lenders, though, who will just have a phone conversation, ask you what you make per year, what your credit might likely be, and then slap it on a piece of paper and go. So there's a difference between ones that are vetted and ones that are not.
Jay Marinsky?
I would say along the same lines as Mike. There are obviously lenders that I have worked with. There's lenders that I know of that I know do a good job. And so I like seeing when their names pop up. But also there will be, conditions on the pre-approval, and, look through certain conditions on it to make sure there's nothing, out of hand or out of the ordinary on those conditions. But there are some lenders that we've worked with in the past that have done a horrible job. And so sometimes it's like, do you have anybody else that you know of? But yeah, same sort of thing as Mike.
Dave, you represent a ton of sellers. How important is a pre-approval letter? And you've been doing this longer than I've been doing it. You're working on 24, 25 years, and I'm sure you've seen pre-approval letters that you'll tell your seller, yeah, this is a good one, or no, this isn't so good. Maybe we need to send this buyer someplace else.
Well, I think that the biggest thing on the listing side is seeing what company is writing the pre-approval letter. And I know that, for Mike and Jamie, over this past couple of years where it's been very important, and when you're competing on houses and there's, 15 offers and so on and so forth, that your buyer is putting forth their best foot with the best lender that carries the most weight in the marketplace. And so I do have a couple of lenders that if I see their pre-approval letter, I tell my client, this lender is not so good. And, the buyer may be a good buyer. It may be an agent that I've worked with in the past. But if this buyer wants to purchase our property, I would ask that buyer to go find another lender. And in order to get on that list, that lender has had to screw up at least 3 times. We all make mistakes. I make mistakes.
Sure.
It's when you repeat the mistake, and then it's that third time is that third strike. And so it's very important that you work with a good, solid lender as a buyer, because sellers and their agents are going to be looking at that stuff. And so if you come to me with fly by night, lender 1, 2, 3, I normally will ask the buyer agent, hey, is this your go-to lender, or is this someone that the buyer brought to the table? And if the agent says, no, this is one of my go-to lenders, I've done 20 deals with these guys, never had a problem, then I'll go to my seller and say, hey, I've not worked with them, but if they say, oh no, this is the buyer's Uncle Henry, and this is only his third deal in 20 years, then if I've got a similar offer or someone right in the same area, we're probably going to go to the other buyer. So as a buyer, it's important that you work with a good, strong lender to show that buyer or that listing or that seller that you're serious, and that lender has done their due diligence up front, and we're not getting word 2 or 3 days before closing, oh, we got a problem. So that's what we do.
The worst phone call we've got to make as buyer agents is the phone call we receive from the lender that says, hey, this isn't going to happen.
Right.
And you've got people packed up moving. You've got a buyer that's ready to move. They've probably given notice to where they're living. And all of a sudden, if that becomes an issue, it becomes a life problem. And we are problem solvers. That's what we do for a living. Dave, you told me when I first got into this business, we're not really realtors, we are problem solvers.
Yep.
And I take that to heart. It's important that we have good communication with that lender. We're on the phone with that lender. What's going on? And ultimately, from pre-approval, we are looking for a loan commitment. In other words, the lender is committed to making the loan. And we can show you how that works here at Sell for 1%.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Pre-approvals. It's very important as a buyer to get a good pre-approval from a good, strong lender. Thanks, and have a great day, guys.